A court case happened this week that's going to impact how we are using AI generated content, specifically in book covers. Now, we've had this conversation before here on the channel with everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, but this is a continuation of that is directly going to impact the future use of AI generated content in what we are creating as authors and publishers. So let's jump into today's conversation to see how this most recent court case is going to impact us.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we've been talking a lot about AI generated content when it comes to the world of publishing. And this week, there was a case that actually has implications on how we could potentially be doing book covers when it comes to using some or a lot of AI generated content. So, real quick, let's recap that case and then let's get into how this could potentially impact authors and publishers.
Yes, absolutely. So this is stemming from a copyright registration that was filed by a comic book graphic novelist named Christina Castanova, who back in August, September of 2022, attempted to register her graphic novel called Zarya of the Dawn that features AI-generated artwork that was created by Midjourneys, an AI-generated software company. Registered the work, got copyright registration with flying colors, no questions asked. However, the Copyright Office reverted on that decision because they didn't realize that there were some elements that were created by AI, aka the artwork. So the US Copyright Office began proceedings to kind of evaluate this registration. And what they recently ruled a week ago is that only the things that Christina Castanova created by herself, like the text, the arrangement of the chapters, that essentially the elements that were her substantial human involvement, those types of elements are protected under copyright law. It's the AI generated artwork that is not worthy of copyright protection because it did not have substantial human involvement, even though Christina Castanova herself said that she had used Photoshop and other means of editing mildly the photos that were created by Midjourney. In the US Copyright Office's eyes, that just was not enough to be worthy of copyright protection.
Now, if you want to learn more about this, we have a full episode over on the main channel. I'll link it down below for you. But the key we want to talk about here is that she had said, yes, I took AI generated content, popped it into Photoshop, and did some adjustments. And they said, too bad, so sad. So how does this then apply to us? I want to talk a little bit about when it comes to making book covers. We already had a discussion on how you cannot make your entire book cover in AI generated content and then expect it to be copyright protected. But what happens if you take just a little piece of it? What if we take one tiny section and then turn it into a big giant cover that we do the rest of the work on? What implications does this case have on that, Tony?
So there could be a lot. And I'll say just shorthand, we don't have quite the answer fully, but there is some guidance that we can look at in copyright law to give us at least get us to maybe, if anything. So first things first, let's say that theoretically you took 1% of an AI generated artwork and you incorporated it in a book cover, but you, the author, worked on 99% of the rest of the cover from scratch with your own hands and with your own skills and with using your mind and your creativity to basically take ideas and express them in some tangible medium of expression. Great, you've created a copyright. Is the US Copyright Office still going to view that whole completed book cover as worthy of copyright protection, even though there's 1% of the book cover incorporating some use of AI generated artwork? The question is going to become if the US Copyright Office is going to view the 99% as substantial human involvement. It sounds like, based on a lot of AI generated artwork cases that they've been recently handling, predating the Zarya of the Dawn case, they had one with Dr. Stephen Thaler, who attempted to register a completely AI-generated artwork in the U.S. Copyright Office, and they had a bevy of proceedings on this, finally ruling that it's not going to get copyright protection. And now Dr. Stephen Thaler is taking the U.S. Copyright Office to court in the District of Columbia District Court. All that to say, they've made it clear in that case, they've made it clear in the Zarya of the Dawn case here, and they're probably going to make this case clear in every single AI-generated registration that comes across their desk. They've made it clear that substantial human involvement is what makes a copyright a copyright. And I completely understand, and personally I agree with that, because when you look at the definition of copyright, we've talked about it before in videos, you'll check them out in the playlist below, but copyright is an original work of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression.
Mhm.
The buzzword I think we should be paying attention to with respect to human involvement is originality, because when you have an idea, you have that idea sitting in your head, it's out there in the ether, it's intangible. But when you take that idea and you express it and you have some type of spin on it, like you have the idea of maybe like giving maybe a Van Gogh-ish type of treatment to a piece of artwork, or you want to arrange certain elements of your artwork in some fashion, or if you're writing a book, you want to arrange your story in a specific way. Whatever the case may be, that's all derived from the human mind. That's something that is incapable of existing with anything tech related. Robots, AI generated software, anything of that sort, they don't have the same degree of originality and creativity that the basic human mind has. So I think that that's where this is going to get kind of tricky when we're talking about this type of situation coming across the U.S. Copyright Office's desk. Are they willing to forego the fact that 1% of a book cover was created by artificial intelligence and still look at the completed whole that 99% of the rest of the book cover was created by an actual human author? So there's a world where they could say yes, even though 1% of it is created by AI generated artwork, we're going to grant copyright protection. There's another world where they're just going to outright deny it because they're probably going to have a zero tolerance policy for anything that was created by artificial intelligence. There's a world where they will grant copyright protection for maybe the 99% of the book cover that was created, except that 1%, which is kind of lousy. But there could be umpteen ways of them handling this case. So all that to say, we don't know, but I think this does give us some sense of clarity, that if you created it with your own mind, the human involvement aspect is going to definitely get you the copyright protection. It's the other things that were not created by the human mind, aka artificial intelligence, that's not worthy of copyright protection. So I think the Zarya the Dawn case may confuse some people, but I think it does get us a little bit closer to maybe to helping us understand what their stance is on what the U.S. Copyright Office's stance is when it comes to artificial intelligence and artwork or anything else that artificial intelligence creates.
And because this is an ever evolving situation, we are going to be doing more episodes in the future. So if you have questions related to this, drop those down below. Tony is coming back to help break this down and to talk about future cases as more continue to roll out. As it stands right now, we may not want to be using AI generated content in what we're doing because we don't know how this is really truly going to play out for us. And it could retroactively affect us when they start making some of these decisions. So, right now is the time to be careful and cautious and make sure we're following along before we make decisions and before we step into this. And as always, if you have questions, ask your lawyer. They are very good at helping you make these decisions. And if you've got questions, as always, drop them down below and you can reach out to Tony on his social media where he is keeping you legally protected and learning every single day about the IP and entertainment space. So, Tony, where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. And you can check out my brand new podcast, End Scene and Entertainment Law Podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hit the subscribe and notification bell for updates on court cases as they are happening in real time with Tony here on the channel. And if you have questions in the legal space of publishing, now is the time to drop those questions because Tony's coming back to film more episodes with us to keep you legally protected inside of the publishing industry. We'll also continue to roll out daily videos helping you navigate the world of publishing so this can be your most profitable year ever with me and with other guests to help you navigate the world of getting your novel out into the public's eye. We'll see you in the next episode.